And contingent includes Daytona 500 victor Bobby Allison, last weekend's Richmond 400 winner Neil Bonnet, and World 600 champ Kyle Petty. NASCAR racing might be new to the land down under, but that's not to say the Aussies aren't ready to answer a bicentennial challenge. Road course regulars Alan Grice, Dick Johnson and Jim Richards head the Calder cast in company with sprint car Supremo Gary Rush. They may not be first up winners, but all are fast learners. The impressive Calder Thunderdome measures 1¼ miles or 2.01 kilometres with a pair of 24-degree bank corners. The Australian television network welcomes viewers throughout the United States, England, Europe, Southeast Asia, New Zealand and coast to coast across Australia for episode 1 of NASCAR's Down Under Thunder.
Hello and welcome on the Australian Television Network to our telecast of the Goodyear 500, the first NASCAR stock car race ever held outside of North America. And of course it's being held at the Calder Thunderdome in Melbourne. A special welcome to our viewers throughout the United States and Europe. What a special event this is going to be for them as well. A great day here in Melbourne, a little cloud around but otherwise sunny. South to southeasterly winds strengthening this afternoon. Top temperature 21 degrees, I reckon it's reached that already, and it's drawn a huge crowd in here. The good weather plus the promise of a thrill that they've not seen down under before.
In a departure from traditional NASCAR qualifying procedure, drivers had the opportunity to better their Friday best with a Saturday session. Friday's top 10 showed Neil Bonnet with quick time in the Valvoline Pontiac over Bobby Allison with Aussie Alan Grice third. Fourth quick was Chad Little, fifth Californian Ron Esau, then Australian Robin Best from Bob Howard, Dave Marcus, Glenn Stewart and Gary Collins. Goodyear sweetened the pole shootout with $10,000 and that was all the incentive the drivers needed to turn up the wick. First to respond was Tasmanian Robin Best, who cut a perfect lap in the number 88 Monte Carlo. He shaved almost a full second from Friday's qualifying run, jumping 2 spots and into the second row. Not so fortunate was NASCAR veteran Dave Marcus in the 71 Chevrolet. He was 8th quick on Friday, but this wild slide put paid to his chances and he was bumped 7 positions. Alan Grice, the sentimental Australian favourite in the Foster's Oldsmobile, did not let down his supporters. He charged around the 1¼ mile oval in 28.971 seconds to bump Bobby Allison off the front row.
Well, we've gone back to the setup we had on Thursday. Friday was very hot, as you know, and we lost our car. We lost more than half a second. But we've gone back to the setup for this sort of temperature, if you like, and that's brought the speed back to the car.
Allison responded quickly to the challenge. He gunned the number 12 Buick deep into the first corner to set up an ideal entry to the back straight. From there, it was plain sailing. A lap of 28.847 seconds, and Grice was back to the second row. However, the best on the day was delivered by Neil Bonnet in the Raymock Pontiac. He also took the car deep into the first turn and never lifted off the throttle, setting up the fastest time of the day, 28.829 seconds, marginally slower than his Friday mark, but $10,000 richer from Goodyear and the Park Royal pole for today's NASCAR 500.
Boy, it feels good. You know, we brought a good race car over here, and we thought we'd be in good shape, but boy, Bobby put us to work today. He's right there with us. We beat him like a couple of hundredths of a second, and Alan Grice really picked up today. We're going to have our work cut out for us come Sunday.
So here's how the top 10 will line up for today's Goodyear 500. Pole to Neil Bonnet in the Valvoline Pontiac. Position 2, Bobby Allison in the Buick. Row 2 is the Aussie connection, Grice from 3 and Robin Best from 4. Position 5 is Californian Ron Esau. 6, David Sosby in the Ford. 7, Chicago's Bill Venturini. 8, the Medicare master, 60-year-old Herschel McGriff. 9 is Gary Collins in an Oldsmobile. And 10, Summer McKnight's Thunderbird.
I'm standing out here on pit road, and the pits are going to be a very important place today. This is Neil Bonnet's pit. He's on the pole. 3 sets of tires here at $170 a piece. They expect to use those. If things go green all day long, he'll stop at every 80 laps, but that's likely not to happen. Yellow flags, they come in to make adjustments to tune the car. The pits will be an important place, and we'll be here to report.
Bob Jane at this moment. We're just waiting to cross down, and I think it's only fitting that Bob Jane will give the signal, the starting command for the cars to come out on the racetrack. For 280 circuits here today, that constitutes 500 kilometres, the Goodyear 500.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The 2 winners of the NASCAR circuit this year, pole sitter Neil Bonnet, winner of the Richmond 400 last weekend, and on the outside of the front row, Bobby Allison, who of course won the Daytona 500 a fortnight ago. Pace car might be just about ready to head to pit lane.
Pace car being driven by John Harvey.
Yes, and the pace car comes off the racetrack and we're about set for the start. Under the control of Bill Gazaway of NASCAR, the field comes down for the start. It'll be a slow one, obviously, and it's Bonnet on the inside, and Bonnet will get the jump. Bonnet is away. Bobby Allison trails. Alan Grice did not miss the start. He moves up very quickly on them, and Robin Best, in fact, was very, very slow to get away. Bonnet will lead them through turn number 1, through 2 now, working the back straight, clear of Bobby Allison. Alan Grice starting to pick them up as they head down there. Robin Best is the next one to go through. Sosby also well positioned, so too is Brad Notzinger. Watch them work the bank turns now as they come in for the completion of the first lap, and Alan Grice already up and making a challenge on Bobby Allison. Down through the tri-oval, the crowd has gone berserk here as Grice goes down on the inside looking for racing room, but Allison is an old hand. He'll hold out. Here's Grice again coming off the second turn, working the back straight. The Foster's Oldsmobile with Australian Alan Grice going through up into second as Michael Waltrip comes in and back out of the pits.
What an incredible performance from Alan Grice. On the previous lap through turns 3 and 4, had the car cocked completely sideways, got himself into a position to be able to attack Bobby Allison as they cross the line. We've got Bonnet leading from Grice, then Allison, Robin Best from Tasmania, followed by car number 78, and that's Ron Esau.
Can Grice move up on the tail of Neil Bonnet? You betcha he can.
Black flag being shown to one of the competitors. Can't quite pick up that number at the moment. Look at how quick these cars are travelling. 170 miles an hour down the straight.
And we take race cam now from Alan Grice's car, the Foster's Oldsmobile, as he heads down the back straight. He's tailing Neil Bonnet, car number 75, the Valvoline Pontiac, and they're already coming up on a slow car for the lap. We'll watch Bonnet try and work down the inside here, and Grice sits in pretty tight as well.
It's Michael Waltrip. Bonnet goes by. Grice now has his chance to attack, goes to the outside, punches the brake pedal, turns the car in. There's a real rise in the road there. A 1,600-kilogram car starts to get very light, and then it's hard on the power down the back.
There's the gap, second to third. Bobby Allison, number 12 in the Buick.
There is quite a gap between third and fourth. Robin Best from Tasmania in fourth spot, but the top 3 getting away from him at this stage. Bonnet leading the way from Grice and Allison.
Well, the pressure's going to be on Alan Grice here as Bobby Allison starts to make the run down the inside, and here he comes. Allison in the number 12 Buick. Alan Grice in the number 03 Foster's Oldsmobile. There's our race cam shot. Allison poking the nose now of the Buick down on the inside of the Oldsmobile, and a touch then. A touch, and there has gone Bobby Allison, has it? Grice has gone. He's got a park, and he's skidding sideways across the infield.
The crowd has gone absolutely crazy in front of the commentary box. Grice has managed to survive, but pointing the wrong way.
Yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag out. Alan Grice.
Well, I thought it was Allison that may come off second best in that one, but you're not a Daytona 500 winner and a 30-year expert at this caper and come off second best in those confrontations.
Well, Bobby Allison leads the Goodyear 500 from Neil Bonnet. Third is Ron Esau. Dave Marcus, a great run, runs in fourth. Fifth spot is the veteran Herschel McGriff, 60 years of age. Boy, and he's still doing it strong here this afternoon.
Ricky of 278. The pace car pulls to the infield.
Don't worry about the car sitting there on the inside. That's a car that is already down a lap. It's Neil Bonnet who will lead them across the line. Takes the green. Michael Waltrip gets the go-by there on the inside.
Car number 83, Sumner McKnight, made a big run. That's the yellow Ford Thunderbird that you can see about 7 or 8 cars back in turn 1. So it's Bonnet, Allison, Michael Waltrip, many laps down on the road in third position. Then a great strap on at the moment being headed by Herschel McGriff, and the man that I'm really watching carefully here is Dave Marcus. That's a great shot of the speed of these cars. Coming off turn 4 into the tri-oval, Bonnet leads. There's Waltrip mixed up in the bunch, and that great scrap for third placing.
And I tell you, the man who is making a big move down through there is Herschel McGriff. There's Bonnet, though, the race leader. That gives you an indication of the 24-degree bank corners here and just how quickly they go through. Back behind the 2 leaders is a whole wall of cars, and they are really just pacing it out side by side. Pick them up next time they come onto the start, finishing straight. Two-horse race out in front. Neil Bonnet doing it for Valvoline and the Raymond Pontiac coming off turn 4. Bobby Allison sits right behind him. Then Ron Esau doing a great job there in 3rd place.
Dave Marcus up to 4th from 15th position at the start, so he is a big mover in this field.
Dave's been having some problems getting the car to handle. Had a big lose yesterday in qualifying, so the time that he set on Friday was the time that stood, and this is the scrap for the lead. Bobby Allison on the inside, and Allison, the Daytona 500 winner, goes to the lead. Neil Bonnet settles back into 2nd place. Buick LeSabre versus the Pontiac into the tri-oval. A long gap back to Ron Esau, Dave Marcus and Herschel McGriff.
They work the back straight, and Bonnet goes back into the lead again on the inside of Bobby Allison. Good move there. Keeps Allison wide now, tucks back on the inside, and they are playing a game of drafts now at probably 240 kilometres an hour, as once again Allison will not accept that. He comes back down on the inside as the two of them race down to turn 1, but Bonnet chops. Hangs in there on the outside, and Bobby Allison coming now once again onto the back straight. Bonnet has the run of the race on the outside, but Allison is very quick down through here. How much closer can you get? There's the view from race cam. Bobby Allison just leading back on the inside. Bonnet again goes down the outside now as the two of them go across the start-finishing line with about 24 laps completed. Side by side into turn number 1. Look at this. Precision racing, two of NASCAR's finest.
Bobby Allison, 50 years of age and still running strong, career earning $6.4 million.
And they're real dollars. They're American
real dollars, not pesos like we've got here.
Bobby Allison, Neil Bonnet very closely, and the big mover in the race, Dave Marcus, a regular on the Winston Cup Trail, runs in 3rd place. Ron Esau of California is in 4th. And just watch how closely Dave Marcus is. He has come up through the field, running strongly, as we take race cam now with Neil Bonnet's car working the back straight. And he sits in the draft, and look at Marcus coming up on the inside, the big mover in this field today. Dave Marcus. Allison is caught 1 out and 1 back. He drops to 3rd.
Well,
Bonnet now leads.
These 3 guys were fooling around on the track last night, and it was incredible stuff to watch. Bonnet, Marcus and Allison nose to tail for about 20 laps, just getting their cars right, so they're well rehearsed at this. Marcus runs a little wide coming out of 2. That allows Bobby Allison to get a little lower on the track and put himself into a position to challenge now as they go down towards turn 3. So Allison on the inside. Ron Esau in 4th, and Allison gets through to 2nd.
How close are they as they come across the line? And coming down the inside of the pair of them is Ron Esau. They are 3 wide going down into turn number 1. What a move that one from Esau. He's now put Bobby Allison back 1 spot, and up on the inside too. Esau comes on strong now as he works the back straight.
Marcus went in pretty deep and got wide. That's allowed both Esau and Allison to have another crack, and Allison really trying hard at the moment. Marcus came unstuck yesterday, rushing in too deep. He really breaks late into turns 1 and 3. So the leader at the moment, car number 75, Neil Bonnet, enjoying a fairly decent sort of a gap from Ron Esau, then Bobby Allison, Dave Marcus and Herschel McGriff, followed by Sumner McKnight.
And also picking up the draft is the veteran in the field, Herschel McGriff. There's Esau, car number 78. Bobby Allison sits behind him as they go once again up into turn 3. They enter turn 3, and of course they come off the next turn, which is 4, coming down the straight. And coming through the field, of course, running about 16th at the moment. Well, he's going to alter that as Alan Grice in the Foster's Oldsmobile carrying race cam. Keep in mind, he went to the back of the field, and he has been storming back through the pack. We're watching through here. Coming up in a whole group of cars. Swings down to the inside. 81 out against the wall. Is Grice going to make it 3 wide with a dive down the inside? No, he'll sit behind the inside car. Lap number 50 complete as the leaders go across the line, and Grice comes back through the field. Here he is, swinging down on the inside. Can he make it 3 wide? In front of the grandstands, 88 about to get the run on the inside here from Grice. No. Turn number 1 again, they are tight. But Grice right behind Rick McRae now as they move on to the back straight. Now he gets out of the draft now and comes down the inside of him.
McRae was totally sideways as he went into turn 1 that time. Now Alan Grice gets underneath him, puts the move on, and Grice moving to position number 15 in the field of 30 cars.
Meanwhile, up front, the Alabama gang. Car number 12, Bobby Allison in the Buick, and Neil Bonnet in the Valvoline Pontiac work the back straight.
If you think these guys are fooling around, they're getting around the circuit in 29 seconds, which is just over half a second off their qualifying pace.
At 224 kilometres an hour.
That's lap average.
Lap average, yeah.
Here
So
they
they're topping 300 in the straights, and there's a spin coming into turn 2.
Yes, we've had one go down. Is that Terry Byers again? We'll wait and see. He's up the middle of the racetrack. Now tries to pull it down as the leaders go through. There's the blue smoke, Terry Byers. In the Tui's entry from Wollongong, the Southern Thunder car. And boy, that is lighting up your Goodyear Eagles. Between turns 1 and 2, Terry Byers. And back up the bank it goes as the field comes by.
Well, it's interesting what's happening here. Neil Bonnet is apparently going to bypass this yellow flag. They've got 80 laps worth of fuel on that car. Bobby Allison is taking advantage of it. Now, this could win or lose the race for one of those gentlemen. If it's a green flag situation from here to the end, pardon me, Bonnet's going to be in good shape. Allison has just built another pit stop into this race for him by stopping now.
Down for the start. And in fact, it'll be Neil Bonnet to lead away from Dave Marcus in 71. 28 then coming up through the field. Gary Collins into third. And Alan Grice is back to fourth place as they go into turn number 1. Can he pick up the pace? He's certainly very, very close indeed as he works onto the back straight. Goes beneath the 28 car. Let's recap the placings at the moment on the Castrol scoreboard. Neil Bonnet is your race leader. Dave Marcus runs in second. Alan Grice of Australia is third. Gary Collins fourth. And Bobby Allison fifth and on the move.
Here are 4 good reasons to come to Port City in Muskegon. Port City offers you the economical, fun-to-drive Volkswagen, the sleek new Audis, the complete Subaru line featuring 4-wheel drive, and the exciting new Mazdas. Here are 4 more good reasons to come to Port City. A friendly sales atmosphere, a complete service department, 4 full lines of parts, and an excellent body shop. Now that's a lot of good reasons to come to Port City, 1260 West Sherman in Muskegon.
Children believe what their parents tell them.
You're pathetic. You can't do anything right.
You disgust me. Just shut up.
You can't be my kid.
You're worthless.
Hey, stupid, don't you know how to listen?
You're never going to amount to anything.
Why don't you go find some other place to live?
Words hit as hard as a fist. Stop and listen to what you're saying. You might not believe your ears.
I wish you were never born.
Take time out. Don't take it out on your kid.
Too many people think a spark plug's a spark plug. Well, all spark plugs aren't alike. These AC copper core plugs match my car's specs like rounds in a chamber, firing up to 30 times a second for up to 30,000 miles of high revving firepower.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO.
Saturday, Championships Week begins with an opening round game from the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Then Pac-10 champion Arizona wraps up its regular season against Washington. Live Saturday night on ESPN.
Lap 69 of 280, the Goodyear 500 from Calder Park Thunderdome. Neil Bonnet, the Valvoline Pontiac, continues to lead the race. In second is Dave Marcus in the 71 car, but coming on very strong behind Marcus is Bobby Allison, who's been able to get past Alan Grice, who has been fading back through the field with brake problems, as we understand, and it's getting very tight up here at the lead as Bonnet tries to find a way past car number 11, goes down the outside of him. And here's Allison setting up here. Can he get 2 of them for the price of 1? Down into the tri-oval, here's Allison pulling out of the draft. Tries to slam down the inside of Dave Marcus and regain second. The sprint down into turn number 1, he couldn't pull it that time. Marcus, how close are they? This time he gets him on the exit to turn number 2. Marcus on the outside. They're coming into a wall of cars, including Terry Byers. Bobby Allison looking for second spot. Marcus runs in second. And just in front of him is race leader Neil Bonnet in the Raymock Pontiac.
Lap 73. And this is the scrap.
They are coming up on a wall of cars, including Jim Richards. Watch the passing now. There's Allison, caught out just a little wide that time. Finds the run down on the inside now as Neil Bonnet moves onto the back straight. Marcus thinking about a run down the outside. Will he switch back to the inside? Gets the free draft down the back straight into the next turn. Now there's Jim Richards in the second of the Foster's Oldsmobiles. Jim is about to have a lap put on him fairly and squarely by the leading trio. Look at Bonnet down the inside. There is not much room down there, but he's found a neat little groove down there as he heads into turn number 1. Marcus still trails through there. Allison really hasn't had the best of run here with the traffic. He's caught back behind some of those cars. So Bonnet breaks free of the draft. And going with him is Dave Marcus in car number 71. There's Allison, back caught in that pack, working away at the inside groove. He's got 2. He's been working on here for the last couple of laps. See if he can break free.
I'm down here in Herschel McGriff's pit. He made an unscheduled pit stop for this reason here, a cut tire. Now, something is out there on the racetrack that did this to McGriff's tire, car number 98. He had to come in for an emergency pit stop, and of course he took on fuel and got back out. One of the trials and tribulations of super speedway stock car racing. Back to you, Mike.
Dickie Johnson, of course, carries one of our race cams today in the number 17 car.
In 5th position.
He's done a great job, keeping in mind that Dick put this car on the wall on Friday.
He was on the pace on Thursday, though, wasn't he? Well and truly. So he's got it in there, and that car qualified in last year's Daytona 500 at a speed of 212 miles an hour, backed by Ross Palmer's company in the United States, Redcoat. That's Jim Richards' car number 1. Oh, and we've got another car really, and in fact we've got 3, 4, 5 wrecks up on turn number 3. And it's a real schmozzle, including Dick Johnson, whose car is on fire. Alan Grice piles to the middle of the pack, ridden his car off as well. We've got 3, 4, 5 cars there. In fact, 6.
Yep, 6 cars, including Grice, including Johnson. It's hard at this moment
Johnson's
to distinguish
car
the
is
others.
a complete wreck. So is Alan Grice. Goodness me, I didn't pick the car that set that off. I just looked up, caught it from the corner of my eye.
There's Dick Johnson climbing out of his car.
That's 2 in a week.
Well, he'd almost come to a dead stop in the centre of the track when Grice speared through the turn and slammed straight into the side of him. How he didn't hit one of those other cars before he hit Johnson, I'll never know.
I wonder whether we have anything on race cam of that incident. It'll be pretty spectacular. Bill Venturini having his second prang. Let's have a look at our Goodyear replay of just exactly what happened. Turn number 3 we're looking at is at David Sousby. Oh, no, this has happened further up the track.
Bill Venturini's in there somewhere.
The 14 car that triggered all of that off. Harry Gallard.
Lap number 81 of 280. Alan Grice goes in at about 150 mile an hour, slams into Dick Johnson. Still can't pick up all the players in this. 6 cars in total.
There's the rest of the field coming in very quickly for pit stops after that very spectacular incident involving 2 of the Australian runners in the field, Alan Grice and Dick Johnson. That's Harry Gallard's car.
Placings on the Castrol scoreboard. Dave Marcus, the leader in car 71 from Bobby Allison, car 12. Then Ron Esau, 78. Sumner McKnight up to 4th place now in car number 83. And rounding out the top 5, car 19, Chad Little.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche. Kenny Bernstein's 3,000 horsepower funny car. Ricky Rudd's high torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX, proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
To some, it's routine maintenance. To others, it's an act of love. If you truly appreciate fine machinery, you protect it with Purolator filters.
We know some guys who get up early in the morning just to rock and roll. Racing fans, this buzz for you.
like to draw or paint, or maybe just sketch or doodle? Well, if you do, chances are you have the interest needed to become a serious art student. And here's how you can find out. By simply calling toll-free, Art Instruction Schools will send you without cost or obligation this enjoyable art test. You take it at home, in your spare time, and when you've finished, you simply mail it in. Your test is then reviewed and graded by experts. So call toll-free today for your art test. And don't let the wonderful world of art pass you by. To get your free art test, call this toll-free number now. Don't delay. Call this number now. Call 1-800-848-9000. That's 1-800-848-9000.
Back at Calder Park Thunderdome, Alan Grice being taken to the infield hospital, neck in a brace, just a cautionary measure, of course, after taking a pretty solid wallop coming through the field and then separating Dick Johnson's car and another vehicle in that rather spectacular crack-up that has brought us back under yellow flag laps in the running of the Goodyear 500. Let's have a look at the replay once again for you, actually what happened. There's Dick Johnson going in. He had nowhere to move. Byers is already in against the wall. Galati has already triggered that off. Now watch Dick Johnson, 17. He gets around sideways. Galati comes down the bank. And Alan Grice arrives sideways trying to miss. And he goes in and catches John Laws in car number 6 on the way through as well. 25, another car involved in that accident. There's another angle for you. And the camera following the number 17 car. It hooks the 96 car, goes up, touches Byers. Flash fire. And once again, oh, how quick did Grice arrive in that accident.
Of course, he had no brakes. We made mention of that. He mentioned earlier to our race cam people that he had a problem. That's John Law's car number 6.
So there, in fact, were 8 cars involved in that. Bill Venturini was one of them, along with Ken Laws. Let's go down to Chris Economaki.
Well, down in David Sotheby's pit, there's a lot of souvenirs for sale. Souvenirs of the Calder Thunderdome. Parts that have been taken off of his car as a result of that crash. And they're not, it'll be in again. Well, they do some more work. Sotheby's a persistent performer. His dad before him was one of the greats on the sand at Daytona Beach. They chiseled off so much of the sheet metal. The hood is over there, and he's going to come back in and get some more taken off. He's determined to finish this Goodyear 500 at the Calder Thunderdome. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Chris. There's the 28 car coming in. But let's have a look at a race cam replay. Again, we have this covered from just about every angle today for you. It's Dick Johnson, of course. And you'll see as he moves onto the back straight, Dick was making great progress. Head down the back straight, coming up now into turn number 3, and the touch has already started. There's one sideways, and watch how quickly it appears as Dick hits it. Race cam spins around. Dick has already stopped. And that was before he received the clout from Alan Grice.
The second wreck in 3 days for you, Dick. You don't want this to be habit forming.
I think that's just the way this sort of motor racing is, Peter. It's pretty cut and thrust. I don't mind that at all. It's just, it annoys me when you become part of somebody else's accident, you know, when you've got absolutely no control over whatsoever. I picked what I thought was a hole, but before I knew it, somebody had filled it, and then somebody hit me, and then somebody else hit me, and it just kept going and going.
The car doesn't look too flash at all, Dick. Is it a write-off?
One would never know. These things are pretty tough. It's pretty bent in the front, but I think you'll be able to straighten it out because you just cut bits off and put bits in and so on. And I think, yeah, we'll have it up and running. We've got another car anyway, and that's why you need 2, I think.
There's the race, the race cam still working in the vehicle of Alan Grice, just doing that 360 pan. Just look at the damage out the back.
The back of his car in the race starter was about out to here. It's been shortened up by 3 to 4 feet. And this is all heavy racing construction with chrome moly tubing. Fortunately, the fuel cell inside here maintained its structure. This fuel cell here bent and battered, but the rubber sack inside did not burst. Had it burst, it most certainly would have been a dangerous fire. You can see the tubing here, how it's bent. Grice really took a hit, and we certainly hope he's okay in the hospital. Back to you, Mike.
Well, the pace car, in fact, will pull to the pit area and we'll get them down for the green. And as they come across the line now, going through to take over the lead as the race recommences, Kyle Petty was on the outside. 32 tries to find a run down here on the inside, and Jimmy Richards is in amongst them. Petty didn't get the best of starts as they swing through onto the back straight. The Kroger car now comes down the back straight with Kyle Petty at the wheel. And sweeping by him there, going down the outside is the veteran Herschel McGriff in car number 98.
Well, you'd think that that was a case of severe lack of horsepower for Kyle Petty. Car being gobbled up down the back straight. So it's Ron Esau who leads. Ruben Garcia in second place. Car number 98 is Herschel McGriff. He's having a go on the inside.
We have a 4-car freight train going here, coming off turn number 4. Here's Bonnet now starting to apply the pressure as he comes down into the tri-oval, and will try and pinch Herschel McGriff on the inside, does so. McGriff will try and racing down to the bottom corner, but Allison is already through as well. He now advances to third spot in the field. And just up in front of them is Ron Esau as they make their way past a slower car coming onto the back straight. Ron Esau, the Jim Robinson entry, the Eurovox car radio car, up into the left-hander, and here is Neil Bonnet, the man applying plenty of pressure. Allison thinking about a run right around the outside. He's going to try and pull it. They're coming down into the tri-oval, and Bobby Allison trying to go down the outside. Bonnet attacks the inside. They're side by side as Bonnet looks for the inside pass, but Bobby Allison down the outside, getting plenty of pressure. Can he pull it here on the outside? They work their way out of turn number 2, coming onto the back straight. It all depends now on race leader Ron Esau, where he sits on the racetrack.
You know, Allison's getting amazing grip out of that car at the moment. He now edges up into second place. He's on the attack. Esau on the inside line. We might just have a lead change here. Bonnet coming off a little worse for wear in this dice. Down towards the front straight. And the new leader is Bobby Allison from Ron Esau, but Esau will have the inside line as they get down to turn 1 once again. But Allison closes the gap, and he is throwing that car around the course at the moment.
He's the first driver who's been working the outside groove here all afternoon and making a payoff for him. Bonnet decides to have a piece of the action. He goes by Esau on the outside, and all that time, notice that Herschel McGriff was thinking about it. He hasn't been able to do it just as yet, but Allison will lead them down across the start-finishing line. From Neil Bonnet, Ron Esau, then, of course, Herschel McGriff in the 98 car. Let's check them out on the Castrol scoreboard. Bobby Allison is your race leader. Second spot held by Neil Bonnet. Third is Ron Esau. Fourth, Kyle Petty. And fifth, Ruben Garcia.
Shape our future. We invite you to learn the technology of tomorrow while you serve your country in the Navy of today.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche. Kenny Bernstein's 3,000 horsepower funny car. Ricky Rudd's high torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX, proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Come on, Cameron, let's go.
Get ready for 3 days of great World Cup skiing on ESPN. Olympic medalists and hungry challengers flirt with disaster in the all-important Subaru Aspen Winter National. Season titles are on the line when ESPN brings you same-day coverage of the Women's America's Downhill, Giant Slalom, and Slalom events. The Subaru Aspen Winter National, Friday through Sunday, only on ESPN.
Lap 121 of 280 laps, the Goodyear 500 from Calder Park Thunderdome. We're riding with Neil Bonnet in the Raymock Valvoline Pontiac V8, and he's tailing at the moment Bobby Allison in the number 12 Buick as they head down the back straight. They drop to the low groove coming off turn number 4, heading back down the start-finishing straight. Coming up on a slower car, I think that in fact is Michael Waltrip in car number 30, still circulating. Hasn't had the best of races. Jimmy Richards under the green has been in and out of the pits in a very quick stop for Jimmy Richards. Allison works the high line, and here's Neil Bonnet down on the inside again. There's Waltrip working the draft, going down the back straight. Waltrip in the 30 car, and Bonnet eases by him. Just watch the line here of Bonnet, who really likes to cling low as they come out of here. Down through this, what we call the tri-over, little kink to the left halfway down the straight. They go down to the first turn again. Just notice how much Allison's car is in fact moving around now.
Yes, I noticed that a couple of laps ago. But all the time, Bobby has been working the high line on the track. Rushes up to the turns very high, very deep, brakes very late. Doesn't appear to be too worried about the unsettling effects of the track in some places. He said to me yesterday that in turns 1 and 3, when you're on the high line, you've got to be very careful because there's a very, very slight rise in the track. You can't detect it with the eye when you're standing there, but you can sure feel it at 170 miles an hour. And the car gets just a little loose, as they say. We prefer to call it oversteer in this country.
50-year-old Bobby Allison of Hueytown, Alabama, has been burning up the Winston Cup Trail for 27 years. The leader of the Alabama gang is a triple Daytona 500 winner and also took out the national championship back in 1983. He's a past master of the short tracks with career winnings which have just stretched over the $7 million mark. While racing has been kind to Bobby Allison over the years, he's also taken a few wild rides, like this car-destroying act at Talladega last year. A few weeks later, he came back to win the Pepsi Firecracker 400 at Daytona, just to prove you can't keep a good man down. 88 has been great to date for the Alabama throttle jammer. He opened a fortnight ago by winning the Daytona 125-mile qualifier, and the next day survived some wild wrecks to land the Goodies 300 Grand National Classic. Day 3, he took the Winston Cup opener in a thrilling last-lap shootout with his own son, Davey. More than anyone else, Bobby Allison wants to be the first NASCAR International winner on foreign soil here today. So place your bets, folks. Heaven knows Mr. Allison is on a roll.
There's Bobby Allison in for a very quick stop. Right side tyres going on the car. Neil Bonnet goes back into the lead. Very quick pit stop this. Churn of fuel. Bobby Allison
looks pretty relaxed.
To notice, doesn't drive with gloves on. Never did. Noticed that at Daytona a couple of weeks ago as well. His car has been running superbly. Oops, he stalls it, but they'll fire him off and he gets going again.
Notice how hard the cars are to get mobile because they're geared so highly for this competition. Ruben Garcia comes to the pits. Ruben, gas only. That was the frantic pit signal that I saw before. The Van Nuys team. We spoke with Dave Nelson earlier in our telecast. He's the crew chief. And Ruben was pretty confident that he was going to put in a good, consistent performance, and he's right on the money for that at the moment.
Well, certainly is.
In 4th place on the racetrack now.
Jerry Churchill car comes into the pits, the 11 car.
And for your 11th pit stop.
This, in fact, is the longest spell we've had in the race without a yellow flag, so I wouldn't imagine it'll be too long before Neil Bonnet in the Valvoline car. As he is, our race leader.
They can't get Garcia's car mobile. They're still pushing it down pit lane.
Well, we had a yellow flag briefly on lap 93 and haven't had one since.
This is the Ron Iso, a number 78 car.
The car was smoking. Bit of pit activity at the moment. Herschel McGriff coming back out of the pits after his 3rd stop. There's Ron Esau's car. And Neil Bonnet coming to the pits in car number 75. So the race leader, who had a 3/4 lap lead, has rushed in. And standing by is Chris Economaki.
And he coasts to a stop. He gets a drink of water. Now, this is an American crew. It's right side tires, refueling. And if it's a green flag the rest of the way, this may well be his last pit stop. Car owner Barbara Hilly working on the right front. Crew is still fueling up, keeping the engine at a nice idle. It's the first green flag, and away he goes. A beautiful stop for Neil Bonnet, who gave up the lead and making it. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Chris. That was a very, very well-drilled pit stop for Neil Bonnet.
About 20 seconds, excluding the time to run into the pits. Lap 169, and 75 goes into 2nd place, so that's the new leader, Dave Marcus.
Dave Marcus, I believe, is still to pit.
Correct. Chad Little's pitted, so really Dave is the last one of the top 3 to make his move and show his cards.
Well, as soon as he heads to the pits, that will put Bonnet back in front and probably Bobby Allison pretty close behind him. It's been the way.
It's probably a case of still watching out for the half-century Bobby Allison, though, at the moment. The guy just seems to have the knowledge when it comes to these long races. He took his stop early. He dropped back to 4th. But I have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of him. Dave Marcus has been a professional in stock car racing for about 20 years, 572 career starts, 5 major wins. What about the career earnings? $2.7 million. And at only 46 years of age, he could have the best part of another 15 years to go.
That's great.
I might slash my wrists.
Well, Herschel McGriff, of course, 60 years of age, and he's still enjoying his racing. They do really hang in there. Peter Mackay, though, is in the pits and has this report for us.
Yes, thank you, Michael. One of the sentimental favourites here today was Ron Iso. He ran up hard with the leaders in the early laps, but some bad news now. They've just pushed the car behind the pits. Ron, can you tell us what's the problem?
I think it broke a camshaft in the engine. We won't be able to go back out. But I'd like to thank Yervach and McDonald's and everybody for giving me, and the Jim Robinson family for giving me the opportunity to get out here and run hard and win some money for the Jim Robinson Hospital Fund.
Do you know how much you'll get out of this?
I don't know, but I think we impressed a lot of people on the cars capable of running good. Maybe we could sell the car, anything to turn it all into some money for Jim.
And Dave Marcus at the moment is half a lap in front of Neil Bonnet, so it's virtually an impossibility for him to get into the pit lane, make the necessary change and get back out and maintain his lead. And in fact, Dave Marcus is coming in right now. So this is going to be interesting. We'll get the stopwatch lined up and see how effective Dave's crew can be. He almost dived into the wrong pit that time. Now he's set.
Chris Economaki is probably standing by. In the meantime, he'd want to be quick, though, because Dave Marcus, they're going about this quickly. In fact, Dave is keen to get back out there, but they'd like to get the second churn of fuel in there before he takes off. Sort of cribbing just a little bit into the next pit bay, but I think they're ready to go. That was a smooth stop from Dave Marcus.
22 seconds.
Yeah,
71. Neil Bonnet is the race leader from Chad Little. Bobby Allison runs in third. Summer McKnight is fourth, and Dave Marcus is now back to fifth on lap 181.
People react to a Sports Illustrated sneak preview.
And the pops these guys were taking. I mean, you could almost feel yourself going, ooh. I mean, and feel your stomach contracting because you knew you were going to be hit.
They just saw a hilarious new video cassette offered by Sports Illustrated. The all-new NFL Football Follies, hosted by Jonathan Winters. It's 45 minutes packed with the kind of follies you love, and you get it free.
I get it free? Come on.
You get the all-new Football Follies free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call this toll-free number and get 25 weeks of America's best sports coverage, including the baseball preview, the swimsuit issue.
That's the icing on the cake.
And the 300-page Winter Olympic preview. You even get the SI Olympic pin set. All for 3 monthly installments of $9.89 each. Even put it on a credit card. You'll save over 47% off the cover price and get the Football Follies free. Call 1-800-284-6200.
I like everything.
I think you should call.
Okay.
Cars aren't cheap, never have been. That's why I never take shortcuts with cheap oil and air filters. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-Delco.
Man has always been fascinated with speed. But winning is more than a quest for speed. It's a measure of skill, a test of guts. And though NASCAR has changed through the decades, its spirit never will. It's not just the machine, it's the man who drives it. We're proud to be a part of this great sport. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Lap 187 of 280 in the Goodyear 500 coming to you from Calder Park Thunderdome. The highest placed Australian in the field just falls into the pits, but the engine has not been running for the cool-down lap, trying to come in. The hood will come up. That's Jimmy Richards, the Foster's Oldsmobile Delta. There's our race leader. Neil Bonnet going through, but sitting with Bonnet this time as they come down the straight is in fact Herschel McGriff. Now, Bonnet was able to put a lap on McGriff about 2 or 3 laps ago, but he hasn't been able to run away from him.
Yes, Phil Homer saying before that Herschel McGriff was having problems with tyres and blistered a tyre. The other fellow that I've got my eye on that's doing a great job chasing this man, Neil Bonnet, in car 75, is Sumner McKnight in the yellow Ford T-Bird, car number 83. He's coming off turn 4. Well known to motorcycle speedway devotees. He had a very successful career there before he went into NASCAR stock car racing.
He certainly did. In fact, in talking with Summer yesterday, He prefers to forget about those days when he said he was young and daring. Today he just loves to be a little more relaxed with his racing, and he does it a little bit quicker too. Lap 204 of 280. The yellow flag is a flapping, and we're under caution here at Calder Park Thunderdome. Debris on turn number 3. Officials are out quickly to pick up what appeared to be some metal, get it off the racetrack. Cars who are down a lap go to the inside.
Sumner McKnight made a stop, although I didn't get the watch on it, but it was a routine stop for fuel and tyres. So it throws the whole ball game open again.
It certainly does. I think you'll find that Allison will be back out in front with Neil Bonnet pretty close behind him. Dave Marcus should be back to third. We're getting ready to take the green, and the cars pick up the pace. They're off and running. Heading down into turn number 1. Bobby Allison here takes the outside running on Herschel McGriff, but right behind him is in fact Neil Bonnet. There's McGriff's car on the inside as Bonnet now dials right in behind. Race leader Bobby Allison as they stretch it, going down the back chute, and breaking up into third is Dave Marcus. They're just clear of Summer McKnight and Bob Howe. That looks like the top 5. And Bonnet is getting serious here. They come off the run down the inside on the tri-oval. Bonnet pulls to the inside of Bobby Allison. They pace it out, door handle to door handle. And in fact, it's Neil Bonnet who goes back into the lead. Bonnet, the 75, Valvoline Pontiac leading. Out of turn number 2, working the back straight here at Calder Thunderdome. They've opened up a little gap at this stage over Dave Marcus, who still runs in third, and they're running away from the rest of the field. The man who started a lap down on them, in fact, Herschel McGriff, sits on the tail of Marcus and giving him some problems. Across the start-finishing line, that familiar blue and white Valvoline Pontiac heads into turn number 1. Neil Bonnet clear. Bobby Allison, probably 2 car lengths back behind him. And back in the pits, the 32 car is in the pits at the moment after they went to green. That's Ruben Garcia. He's been running strongly here all day.
72 laps remaining in the race. Somebody just got a black flag on the previous lap. We'll check that with race control.
Look at this. Dave Marcus and Herschel McGriff side by side down into turn number 1. McGriff is trying to get off that lap that Marcus had on him, trying to pull it back and get back in company with the leaders, and they are door handle to door handle. It's been like this for 3 or 4 laps. Herschel went in a bit deeper that time, gave Dave a few problems. That is complete trust from driver to driver. And 18's also coming up to join them very, very quickly. Glenn Sturer. So this is a very, very good scrap, just back behind the leaders.
Black flag for car 30. That's Michael Waltrip. That's right. The car is smoking on the back straight, dropping oil. That's giving officials some concern. And also coming into the pits is David Soosby. That car's looking pretty second-hand as well. Lap 210 of 280, 70 to go. Approximately 35 minutes of racing if they stay with a green flag to the completion.
This has really been a titanic scrap between Dave Marcus and Herschel McGriff. Glenn Sturer, who has been gaining on these two. Looks like the 81 car is headed into the pits.
David Soosby, that car, in fact, on the other side of it has got pretty severe damage. Can't see it from that angle. But all the front of it, front right-hand corner, is all knocked away.
There's Michael Waltrip. In for some a look at the engine in the 30 car. It's been blowing smoke. Michael Waltrip, of course, who came out here for his first run, 24 years of age, the brother of Darrell Waltrip, driving a Chevy Monte Carlo from Kentucky. First in the 83 Charlotte Daytona Dash Series. That's the baby class leading up to the Winston class. Runner-up, 87 Rookie of the Year for NASCAR. That is no mean achievement. 84, voted the most popular driver in NASCAR. Another one of our Nissan personality profiles, Michael Waltrip. Very, very nice young man, and appears to have a great future in the sport. Look at this, the scrap for first and second. It's back on again, the Alabama gang. Neil Bonnet, Bobby Allison, 1-2. Dave Marcus back in third. Ben Stura coming back up in the pack again. And these two love a race, don't they?
Oh, I wouldn't care to make a bold prediction on which way the pendulum's going to swing with these two. They are nose to tail. They've been that way all afternoon. Pretty intense racing. They round up Kyle Petty with ease, so Kyle is not in good shape. There's the shot on race cam. They've rounded up Petty and Bonnet at the moment, about to lap car number 88. That's Robin Best from Tasmania.
This is the incredible thing about this type of racing, in that, of course, today we have a great mixture of drivers, not all the regulars on the NASCAR Winston Cup Trail, but a lot of the Californians and the Australians who are involved. But this is the type of racing that they do have in the United States, not just these two cars, but you can get up to 30 cars still running nose to tail, jumping out of the draft, ducking down on the inside or trying to pass the outside. Coming off turn 2. Bonnet, 75, and Bobby Allison in the 12 car. Looks like they're going past Chad Little with the Coors Thunderbird. Diving down low. Watch the foot action next time we take race cam. At the moment, though, here's Allison making a very bold bend down the outside. Bonnet is going to use the low line.
Bit of left foot braking again from Neil Bonnet. Just saw a glimpse of it.
Look at Allison, though, swinging to the outside. Neil Bonnet fighting Bobby Allison for the race lead, but I think Allison has got around the outside to lead it, going down the back straight.
Certainly has, and he's pulled about 4 or 5 car lengths. You can see the gap heading into turn 3. Allison's amazing when he gets up on that high line. I don't know how he gets the speed out of the car and keeps it off the wall.
The fast groove at tracks like Daytona, we find are probably only less than a metre off the wall, and no one drives them higher than Bobby Allison. Let's check them out on the Castrol scoreboard. Bobby Allison is your race leader in the Buick, clear of Neil Bonnet, the Valvoline Pontiac. Dave Marcus is third. Is fourth, and Bob Howard rounds off the top 5.
We're Skipper Heating and Air Conditioning specialists in total comfort systems for over 40 years. This is Tom Skipper asking you to think of us first when considering a new heating or air conditioning system. We use a computerized energy analysis to help you choose the right equipment for your needs. High-efficiency furnaces, air conditioners, humidifiers, thermostats, and air cleaners. Total comfort systems with the service and the price to keep you comfortable.
Skipper Heating and Air Conditioning, located at 304 West Delano, Muskegon.
In our country, where physical illness gets the most advanced medical treatment, a disease that affects 35 million Americans goes virtually untreated.
Why don't you just get up and pull yourself together? Snap out of it.
The disease is mental illness, a disease that's often misunderstood, so its victims wind up neglected, isolated.
There is nothing more I can do for you.
But mental illness can be treated once you learn to see the sickness. For an informative booklet, call the American Mental Health Fund.
Stay tuned for a special offer from Players Club.
I love VIP treatment, so you come here. Take a look. The Players Club card works at Atlantic City, Las Vegas, Reno, Lake Tahoe, the Caribbean, even on cruise ships.
Vegas was great. We stayed at the Aladdin, ate at the Nugget, and saw a terrific show at the Riviera.
You can stay in one hotel, see a show in another, and dine in still another.
My wife and I spent the weekend in Atlantic City, and we saved over $200.
We went on our first cruise and saved money thanks to Players Club.
I just spent 10 days in the Bahamas. Players Club saved me a fortune.
This is the only card you can carry that will save you money. Call now and find out how you can get 2 free room nights in Atlantic City or Las Vegas when you use our Super Saver airfares. This saves you more than the cost of your membership. Take advantage of our special offer. Call now.
Players Club makes saving money easy.
Welcome back to Calder Park Thunderdome. Bob Howard in the Pennzoil car coming back into the pits, and the reason he is heading into the pits is what you're about to see on the Goodyear recap. Wham, slam, straight off the wall, around sideways, then back down across the infield into the grass area. Not too much in the way of space between there and the concrete wall, so Bob Howard has had a big hit, and that has brought out the yellow flag. Now 225 laps completed of 280.
The lure of racing in a strange and faraway land has a strong pull on some people. This car was in the ship that sailed from Los Angeles, was on the water for 3 weeks, and in it was an unwitting stowaway, the engine builder. He was put in the car by its owners. He was provided a sleeping bag, a pillow. As you can see, there wasn't much room in there. and certain provisions. He couldn't stand the confinement, and after 3 days he came out of the ship and was arrested by the captain. He was turned over to Australian immigration authorities, deloused, they say, quarantined for 2 days, and then released in the custody of Calder Thunderdome owner Bob Jane. He's here on the grounds now, working off his return fare doing menial labor. Mitch, this is Mitch Klon, the famous stowaway. Mitch, what was in the car besides the sleeping bag and the pillow?
There was a bag of groceries, which was 2 cans of Spam, can of tuna, 2 boxes of dry cereal, 3 bags of candy, 2 boxes of Twinkies, box of cookies, and that was about it.
For 10,000 miles. You couldn't stand it. It was down in the hold and dark. You finally got out where you could see some fresh air, right?
Yes, sir. It was about 3 days before I went outside, and I just got tired of being down there, so I just went up and decided to get some fresh air.
Pace car goes to the pits, and we're in for a sprint now for the closing stages of the Goodyear 500. So it's Bobby Allison in car number 12 who leads them down into turn number 1. Dave Marcus is very, very close to him, though, as they round up Glenn Sturer on the outside, and now Neil Bonnet gets into the draft as they make it onto the back straight. Look how close they are now. Sturer in the 18 car deciding to race Bobby Allison and getting the split as the 71 car. How close are they as Dave Marcus goes in lower than anyone? Almost caught the tail that time of Sturer as they come off. Well, Sturer, and now Dave Marcus, and Bonnet pokes the nose up on the inside. Who said this race was over?
Lap 228. Dave Marcus on the attack. Glenn Sturer wants to play with the big boys. And Neil Bonnet stuck in there behind in second place at the moment. Wasn't that stuff from race cam fascinating, the way he was alternating between left foot braking and getting on the gas. And now he's attacking Dave Marcus once again. Let's watch him as he goes into turn 3. On the brakes. Still on the brakes. A little bit of acceleration and then back on the power hard. And Marcus's car really loose in the rear end that time, coming out of turn 4. Side by side as they go down the front straight. And the crowd reacting to the excitement.
Neil Bonnet coming down on the inside, but Marcus will not give way. If he can hold it there on the high line, I don't think he can, because Bonnet will get the drive coming out of turn 2. Slingshot down on the inside, but Marcus has got plenty of horsepower. They race it out side by side up into turn number 3, and Bobby Allison sits in the draft of Neil Bonnet.
Well, he's getting the double draft there when the two of them were so close together. Has an opportunity to sit back. Oh, Bonnet's car getting a little out of shape. Oh, and he touches Marcus as they come off turn 4. And Bobby Allison goes through on the inside and has a crack at the lead. Allison down to turn 1.
Fantastic stuff. They're sprinting now to the checkered flag of the Goodyear 500. Swinging out onto the back straight. This fascinating dice that we've seen all day long here at Calder Park, Thunderdome. Bobby Allison goes through. Car number 12 being tailed here by Neil Bonnet. Marcus is still working that outside groove. Not a bad job at it, but now it's Bonnet who gets the inside edge as they come off the turn, and Bonnet will now work to the inside on the tri-oval, and he does it and takes Marcus along for the ride. Sturer is back behind them, and Herschel McGriff. You'd think it was just a sprint race that started a few laps ago.
46,000 customers here at Calder Park are up on their feet cheering for this race at the moment, and Glenn Sturer gets in all sorts of strife that time on turn 2, goes up high, drops to the end of the field as the battle continues. Bonnet leads by about 3 car lengths from Bobby Allison, Dave Marcus in 3rd place, and Herschel McGriff behind him.
Expect to see Bobby Allison up shortly if he can catch onto the draft here from Neil Bonnet, but Bonnet is working the inside of this racetrack beautifully. Marcus back in 3rd. Herschel McGriff comes up in the 4th spot as they come through the tri-oval down into turn number 1. Marcus there harrying Bobby Allison all the time. And that gap that Allison opened up a little earlier on Neil Bonnet is now open the other way. Bonnet stretches it by 2 car lengths, working the back straight. Doing it nicely, but look at the scrap for 3rd place.
There's plenty of fight left with these guys. As you suggested before, Mike, it's like a sprint race.
And here's McGriff now. Herschel McGriff, 60 years of age. He goes down the inside of Dave Marcus. Wants to do a bit of racing here for a while. Marcus runs in 3rd. Car number 71. McGriff is on the inside of him. Petrus is up there keeping them company too. And we'll see if McGriff's got the drive. Yes, they have. Side by side down the back straight again. Up into turn number 3. And all the time, Bobby Allison is still closing on our race leader, Neil Bonnet, as they come off turn 4 and work the tri-oval. Bonnet probably with a 2-car break over Bobby Allison, a 4-car break, then back to Dave Marcus and Herschel McGriff.
You see that car on the tail of the field, that's Glenn Sturer, car number 8. He was mixing it with the heavies only a couple of laps ago, and they've certainly given him a decent serve at the moment.
Boy. About to come off onto the tri-oval now. Little kick in the front straight. There's the gap, you can see it. Neil Bonnet, 75, the Raymond Valvoline Pontiac, driving beautifully. Let's check them out on the Castrol scoreboard. At this stage of the race, Neil Bonnet, race leader from Bobby Allison. Dave Marcus runs in third. Summer McKnight is fourth. Terry Petrus is fifth.
Ricky Rudd talks about Quaker State with QSX.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX.
QSX keeps dirt particles in suspension, so they're trapped in your oil filter instead of sludging up your engine.
No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Some people take chances on car maintenance, but I don't. For more than 40 years, I've been sticking with the same brand of auto parts and never been stuck. AC Delco. For my money, you just can't beat them. No matter what kind of car or truck you drive.
Precision AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
Keep your car running the way it was made to run. For the AC Delco retailer nearest you, just give me a call at 1-800-AC-DELCO.
Last season ended with a national championship for Stanford. But this year, trouble's brewing for the Cardinals as they take on Pac-10 rival UCLA. College baseball, Saturday afternoon, live on ESPN.
Lap 241, 280. We have a yellow flag situation at Calder Park Thunderdome, where some metal had come off one of the race cars on turn number 2. The yellow caution flag came out and Bonnet went straight to the pits for a 22-second stop. Probably got a set of sprinting tyres on there, I'd say, and he's trying to catch the field up quickly.
He didn't take any fuel. They didn't work on the left-hand side of the car. They put 2 wheels and tyres on the right-hand side of the car, which is the side that's working hard. And they've still got at least one more lap to do under caution as Ruben Garcia heads to the pits, joined by J.C. Danielson in car number 82.
It looks like Robin Best also coming in, the survivor of the Australians, and Neil Bonnet coming in yet again.
And into the pits, yes.
He's not going to lose anything by this, because he'll pick the field up again. He's going to have to start up towards the back anyway.
Now they're working the left-hand side of the car. That's pretty good thinking, isn't it?
Yeah. That's one good thing about the yellow flag caution laps. As long as you can get out there quickly and join up on the queue, and keeping in mind, he will move up behind Bobby Allison. That was a lightning one.
Yeah, 19 seconds, and the rationale there, of course, is that just in case the green flag had come out that lap, he was in a fighting position. As it didn't, he decided to make for a full set of boots.
Well, they changed the vinyl right-hand side first.
Yes, yeah. So they have to think not only in terms of the elbow-to-elbow racing, but also the tactics of the game. And these guys are pretty experienced at it.
They certainly are, ducking in and out of the pits. We expect the pace car maybe to come off on lap 242 of 280. The inaugural Goodyear 500 from Bob Jane's Calder Park Thunderdome. Hope you're enjoying our telecast across Australia on the Australian Television Network, another 7 Sport exclusive. And also greetings extended to the ESPN Total Sports Network of the United States and our viewers throughout Europe.
We're down to 14 cars now out of 32 starters.
And they've been given a signal for one more lap under caution.
Well, you can expect an absolute thriller all the way to the checkered flag if we don't have another yellow flag caution period, because on the outside groove, leading the race is Bobby Allison and the number 12 Buick, the winner of the Daytona 500. Sitting in behind him, of course, is Dave Marcus. And then on the outside of row 3, running third, is, of course, Neil Bonnet in the number 75 Raymond team, Valvoline Pontiac.
As they prepare for a restart, it's interesting, they're still running 29-second laps, and Richard Petty has an unofficial lap record here of 28.2.
28.2, that was set on soft compound rubber. That was an unofficial record, as you mentioned, but we have the pace car ready to come off the racetrack, and we're looking at a green flag situation for the final sprint of the Goodyear 500 from Calder Park Thunderdome. Let's turn them loose. Bobby Allison gets the break. Bonnet was very, very slow to move. Will have to swing down the outside of Herschel McGriff. Dave Marcus, meanwhile, moves up on the tail of race leader Bobby Allison as they come off turn 2 and now work onto the back straight and expect a half a lap before you see Neil Bonnet and the Valvoline car come running up on them. Yes, he's doing that now as I speak, and we take race cam from Neil Bonnet's car. 7 race cam now as Dave Marcus sits right in behind Bobby Allison, and Neil Bonnet comes storming back at them yet again. They come across the strike. Allison, Marcus, Neil Bonnet looking towards the inside if he can pull a pass off right behind them.
See the tacho on Bonnet's car sitting up at around about 7.3, 7.4. He really gets his boot into it now. Tucks down on the inside, wants to attack Dave Marcus. He's pulled the move off and goes up to second place once again. Neil Bonnet pushing real hard. You know, they make 200 and 300 RPM when they can get in behind the draft, and that's the advantage that Neil Bonnet had that time.
He's closing now on race leader Bobby Allison in the Buick as they come across the tri-oval. Down past the start-finishing line, Allison leads, Bonnet in second. Marcus is the next one back. Herschel McGriff, who was down a couple of laps but able to stay and run with the race leaders. They come off two, onto the back straight. Has Bonnet got something left? Herschel McGriff now. Dave Marcus side by side, and McGriff goes back on the inside. That has been a fascinating dice, but the one up in front is even better as Bonnet coming off turn 4 down through the tri-oval will take the lead back in the sprint to the flag. Bonnet still in front. Allison now in the second spot, and Dave Marcus still runs in third.
You know, these guys have been in the cars now for almost 3 hours. The cabin temperatures are between 135 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're still driving as though this were a 5-lap sprint.
Coming off turn 4, the Valvoline Raymond Pontiac. Neil Bonnet at the lead of the race. Winner of the Richmond 400 only last weekend. Bobby Allison sits in second. Winner of the Daytona 500. Turn 2 now onto the back straight. Not too much between them. Still probably a couple of car lengths. Herschel McGriff has broken clear of Dave Marcus. He'd like to pull a lap back if he possibly could. Terry Petrus is also in there. He's driven a fine race here.
247 laps down, 33 laps to go.
There they go, down through the tri-oval into turn number 1. No doubt we still have a race on our hands in the sprint to the flag. Coming off 2, and Allison again has been working that high groove, the top side of the race course. We'll pick up the Castrol scoreboard. Neil Bonnet is the race leader for Valvoline. Bobby Allison second. Dave Marcus is third. Summer McKnight is in 4th place, and Glenn Sturrer runs in 5th.
Racing on the water, just you and me. Running wild, running free. Run, 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 Kawasaki.
Jet Ski Watercraft by Kawasaki. The ultimate water pistol.
Fly across the water on a jumping jet. Kawasaki gets the good times wet. Fun, 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 Kawasaki. Fun, 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 Kawasaki.
Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, 3-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from your General Motors dealer.
To see how one super machine can take the place of a whole gym, and you won't believe the price. But first, give your mind a workout with this video fitness quiz. Kim's toning up with the remarkable Omni Gym. Would you say it performs 10 functions, 20, or 30? Answer over 30 exercises.
Use it as a bench press. Stand up for squats and pull-ups.
Women can trim down thighs and hips, firm buttocks, flatten tummies, reduce cellulite. The Omni Gym is a no-sweat $49.95. And it's yours with a 30-day guarantee of satisfaction.
So if over 30 exercises for just $49.95 sounds good to you, the only other question is, how do I order?
Call toll-free 1-800-435-1700. That's 1-800-435-1700. Use your credit card or send check or money order for $49.95 plus $9 shipping and handling to Omni Gym, Department 40, Canton, Ohio, 44750.
The American influence upon today's Goodyear 500 is unmistakable. From the time you turn off the Calder highway into Thunderdome, there are constant reminders. This is a red, white and blue day. Even Old Glory shares equal exposure with our national flag. The Adelaide Grand Prix this is not, nor does it pretend to be. This, my friends, is plain homespun Americana. As simple as apple pie and ice cream, or Ronnie Reagan in a deficit.
Of all the different categories that I've seen, I think the general attitude and atmosphere of NASCAR is the most open. I think there's a very, very well developed and sincere attempt by everybody involved with NASCAR to further their own sport.
Gassing up the V8 giants for today's 280-lap Goodyear 500 has been a task in itself for Unical, the fuel suppliers to the Winston Cup Series. Familiar Unical 76 signs adorn the circuit, and there's even a gas station in the pits carrying their name. Unical shipped 20,000 gallons of racing gas to Australia from Virginia, and the corporation is obviously pleased to see the sport going international.
We're enjoying our involvement over here, lovely country, and we're very pleased to bring over our products.
The fans have been swamping the garage area all week, chasing T-shirts, bumper stickers, and anything to do with the NASCAR movement. Trackside spectators have also been entertained by Charlotte Motor Speedway announcer Bill Kennelly, who's here to help local mic men call the shots. NASCAR's arrival in Australia oval track devotees, and there seems little doubt Chapter 1 has been a rip-roaring success, even before the checkered flag falls here later this afternoon. A yellow flag caution period. Bobby Allison has gone to the pits at the same time.
They're changing tyres on the right-hand side. That's the working side.
Let's have a look at what the reason was. Aha, Michael Waltrip in car number 30 heading on down the back straight. Whoop, there goes the rear bumper. That's the reason the yellow flag has come out. It landed up against the wall, and Bobby Allison, race leader for quite a part of this event.
He's been in so far for 25 seconds. Petrus has just left the pit area. That's Allison at the wheel. Car number 21, Kyle Petty, has got a whole bunch of steam coming out of his car at the moment. They're now working the left-hand side of Bobby Allison's car. Meanwhile, the field is coming out of 3, and Allison departs. 41 seconds spent in the pits, but he'll be able to team up on the end of this field.
There's the yellow flag. Certainly been showing that rascal today. Quite a number of caution periods, the most serious one obviously for the big wreck that we had involving Alan Grice.
One more lap under caution. Chad Little to the pits, car number 19, so good break for Bobby Allison. He gets plenty of time to make it back up onto the end of the field, because as the leaders come down the main straight, he's just heading down towards turn 1, lap 256 of 280. Petty was losing a lot of steam from the car in the pits only a few moments ago. Allison, meanwhile, has just tagged onto the back of the bunch. Hasn't been a good day for Kyle Petty.
27-year-old Kyle Petty of High Point, North Carolina, is a third-generation NASCAR racer who promises to follow in the footsteps of his grandpa Lee and his daddy Richard. Now into his 10th season of competition, Kyle won the very first race he entered, the ARCA 200 at Daytona. But it wasn't until '85 when he joined the Wood Brothers team that consistency and success came hand in hand. Season 87 produced 2 super speedway victories. None more satisfying, though, than the World 600 at Charlotte, North Carolina, when he steered the Citgo Thunderbird to the checkered flag for an $89,000 payoff. Career earnings have already topped the $2 million mark for Kyle, still somewhat shy of his father's $6.6 million total. Then again, Daddy has taken 29 years to amass his nest egg. The racing Petties are NASCAR folk heroes with a huge spectator following, and young Kyle would give anything to be the first family member to win on foreign soil here today. Race cam with Neil Bonnet in the Valvoline Pontiac. Herschel McGriff once again gets a run down on the inside of the lap cars. Hasn't he been a strong performer today?
He could outlast a lot of them the way he's going at the moment. Car number 98, Herschel McGriff, 60 years of age. What did I say? He started in 1945.
He gets a new car, he'll be a dynamo when he reaches 70. So the man who sits on the inside, down a lap, Herschel McGriff, 60 years of age. Neil Bonnet, of course, who has reached the 40 mark, and sitting back behind him in 3rd place is, of course, Bobby Allison, who is 50 years of age in the pace car, about to come to the pit area.
And Allison doesn't have to tag onto the end of the field. He, in fact, goes up on the high line. That's right. Goes into his 3rd position, if you're wondering what that's all about, as we approach the restart.
Ready now for the final run. We have had 25 lead changes as of lap 255. We're ready to go racing in the final sprint for the Goodyear 500 from Calder Park. Neil Bonnet leads the Shorten pack down into turn number 1. Herschel McGriff sticks it down on the inside of Dave Marcus as they swing out of there. And back behind Marcus is Bobby Allison, who really needs to get on with this if he's going to haul in Neil Bonnet. They work the back straight. McGriff on the inside. Dave Marcus still running strongly up there in second spot. The number 71 car. Privateer, Winston Cup Racing, doing a splendid job here down under today. Across the start-finish line. Allison is just sprinting down the inside this time of Herschel McGriff, almost a touch of fenders, but he'll force his way back to an inside run through turn number 2. Yes, he does just that. He catches Marcus out wide as they work the back straight. Allison, the tyres now working. He's on the hunt, going after Neil Bonnet. Blows by Dave Marcus as they go up into turn number 3, drops it on the low side. Marcus sits in for the draft. And at this stage, as they come onto the straight, there's probably a 5-car length break. Neil Bonnet across the line. Bobby Allison, then Dave Marcus.
You might wonder why so many of these cars are limping round at the back of the pack. If you finished in 15th place, you've still got $7,000 to play with. And look at Herschel McGriff. He knows how much money's at stake. He wants to be a part of this first ever Australian NASCAR stock car racer, but right into the field. Battling at the moment with Dave Marcus coming off turn 4. In towards the tri-oval. Allison in the foreground. Marcus alongside McGriff. And Bonnet disappearing into the western sunset.
To some, it's routine maintenance. To others, it's an act of love. If you truly appreciate fine machinery, you protect it with Purolator filters.
We know some guys who get up early in the morning just to rock and roll. Run. Racing fans, this buzz for you.
Users of nasal sprays invariably encounter the same problem.
Warm, boys.
Sprays that roll out of their nose or drip back into their throat. To avoid this, they'll do just about anything. But now there's new Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine doesn't roll out or drip back. It goes up and stays up, and that makes it better. So try new Sinex Ultrafine Mist. It goes up and stays up. From Vicks, of course.
Last season ended with a national championship for Stanford. But this year, trouble's brewing for the Cardinals as they take on Pac-10 rival UCLA. College baseball, Saturday afternoon live on ESPN.
Neil Bonnet, can he make it 2 wins on 2 weekends in a row?
That would certainly please him greatly. Lynn Manley and all the folk from Valvoline back in the United States. Neil Bonnet, 75. Raymock, Valvoline Pontiac.
Out to 1.6 seconds. He's still pulling time on Bobby Allison. He's up for $42,000 US if he can pick a win, or 59,000 Aussie dollars. And Bobby Allison really trying to do everything he can within his power at the moment to peg the gap, but the car just does not seem to have the grip that Bonnet's car has.
Down through the tri-oval, yet again, Allison, the man on the charts, trying to pull back inch by inch on the race leader, Neil Bonnet. A long way back to Dave Marcus, who runs in third. In fact, Marcus has dropped off the pace appreciably in the last couple of laps. And here's the man that has done everything right in Australia, the land down under for the Goodyear 500. Sweeps down the back straight.
Gap is back to 1.2 seconds.
Turn number 4 now comes up. As they come out of there, down through the tri-oval.
Gap's down to 0.93 with 2 laps to go. Less than a second separating first and second with just over 3 hours to go. And a wreck coming out of turn 4. J.C. Danielson spins. Yellow flag will come out, or will it? If he can clear the circuit, it may not in fact come out.
No, I think he's okay. He's pulled back out onto the racetrack, and I don't think he's left any oil or debris up there. That would have been a cruel blow for Bobby Allison, who has really stalked Neil Bonnet. We're waiting for the white flag. It's coming out. The Goodyear 500 comes down to the last lap, and we have Bobby Allison closing On race leader Neil Bonnet as they head off the tri-oval down into turn number 1.
Half a second, 0.56 separating them as they make the run down the back straight for the last time.
They've got cars to wind in and out of before they reach turn number 3. Neil Bonnet driving for the Raymont Valvoline team halfway using the low side of the circuit. The team is ready to jump. Turn 4 out, down through the tri-oval. The checkered flag is at the ready, and Neil Bonnet in the Valvoline Pontiac strikes gold. Second place will go to Bobby Allison in the number 12 Buick, and third place is Dave Marcus in the number 71 car. What a race, what a drive from Neil Bonnet. The placings in the Goodyear 500. The race winner, Neil Bonnet from Alabama. Second, Bobby Allison of Alabama. Third, Dave Marcus. Fourth spot going to Summer McKnight, a great ride to Glenn Sturrow. We'll be back in a moment.
We now expect to arrive at Kennedy Airport around 6:40 a.m.
I see you've got homework, too.
You think when you get to this point, things would get easier?
Yeah, I know. It looks like that was quite a project.
Have a look. No trade secrets here.
Thanks. I wish we could do work like this, but we have to crank it out every week.
So do we.
Well, we can't afford to farm hours out. We have to do them on a computer.
So do we.
You did that on a computer?
Of course. If we farmed them out, I couldn't afford to ride up here.
Advanced Management Systems, West Michigan's largest and best Apple dealers with 4 locations. Henry Street in Muskegon, 28th Street in Grand Rapids, South Washington in Holland, and West Grand River in Okemos. AMS, your authorized Apple dealer.
It's time to get serious. Battle lines are drawn for the NHL's Cold War. ESPN presents the Stanley Cup Playoffs. All live, all the way to the championship finals as teams take their shots at the defending champion Edmonton Oilers. The showdown heats up. The Stanley Cup Playoffs beginning April 6th here on ESPN.
Members of the Alabama gang, let's get you guys here, Neil. Hey, congratulations, Neil. You're really on a roll. One at Richmond and now here in Australia. What kind of a day was it for you?
Well, it wasn't as easy as it looked like. Bobby got awful good when the race started. He's an expert at setting the chassis in hot weather, and Bobby had his car in good shape, but my guy just kept coming back every time we'd pit and work on the car. You know, first thing I want to do is thank these Australian people for being so nice to us over here. We've had a good time.
What about that big crash up there? Were you close?
No, but they called me on the radio and said it's a bad wreck. How's Alan Greisman's guys? Everybody okay?
He's got a broken collarbone. Other than that, he's okay.
Well, I hate to hear that for Alan, but I'm glad everybody's not hurt any worse than that.
Okay, congratulations, Neil. But let me get a word here with Bobby. Bobby, you're huffing and puffing, huh?
Yeah, Chris, you know, it was a hard run there at the end. You know, we were just trying our best to catch up with Neil, and he had a little too much stuff for us there at the end.
What about the track? Did it get better as the race wore on?
Yeah, the track was good. It's bumpy, and the rise going in the corner gave the guys a lot of trouble. But it's a nice track, and Bob Jane deserves a lot of credit for putting this thing together down here.
How about that big crash, Bobby? Were you near that?
No, fortunately, I was ahead of it, so I didn't see anything of what happened.
Okay, congratulations and good luck to you. Let's get a hold of Dave Marcus over here. Dave, what are you frowning about?
It's a tough race, Chris. Neil and Bobby were real good. You know, their cars were working good, and I had to drive really hard all day just to try and keep up to them. But I enjoyed it. It's a nice facility, and it's a great honor to come over here in Australia and be in the first NASCAR event. So I had a great time.
What'd you have for breakfast, Dave? I saw you pull alongside of Bobby Allison there. You went wild there about 50 laps ago. What happened?
Well, Chris, you know, we're running up front, and that's what racing's all about. And I know these Australian people want to see a good race, so we try and give them a good show.
Well, you certainly did that. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the story from Victory Land. It's been a great race. And for Chris Economack here, I want to say to my good friends down in this part of the country, happy birthday, Australia.
Every Ferrari 328 and every Ferrari Testarossa that comes to America comes on Goodyear Eagles. And only on Goodyear Eagles. Why? Because Mr. Ferrari wants it that way. Goodyear Eagles, Ferrari's choice as America's best tires.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me. There's no place that I'd rather be. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Beer.
The symbol of excellence, the legendary Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, now recreated by Franklin Mint Precision Models in the official die-cast model authorized by Rolls-Royce Motor Cars Limited. The 1907 Silver Ghost, only one was ever built, and now it's recreated in an incredible model. Hand-assembled from more than 127 pieces, each feature is authentic. The removable spare tire, protectively coated sterling silver-plated trim, pedals, instruments, and engine details precise to the very last spark plug. A stunning collector's piece for home or office. To order, call 1-800-453-1500. Use your credit card or mail $30 and be billed the balance in 3 payments. The imported Silver Ghost with certificate of authenticity. Call 1-800-453-1500. The Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost.
There's nothing quite like owning a Rolls-Royce.
Well, down here at trackside, I think time to get some final impressions from Chris Economaki of the United States about today's race and about the Calder Thunderdome. Chris?
Well, I thought the race was very interesting, and the Thunderdome was a magnificent place, thanks to this man, Bob Jane. We don't have too many entrepreneurs left in motorsports anymore, and this guy's #1 in this century. Congratulations, Bob, on a great facility, and may it have a long life and a profitable one.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate your comments.
Bob, you had an enormous crowd, 46,000. Everything just went so well. It's just phenomenal for you, I think, to put the lid on a lot of knockers you've had to suffer over the last 4 or 5 years while you've been getting this off the ground.
That's right, Gary. Well, as you say, it's been a great day. We've had a good race. I mean, there are better races, but for the first one, I think it's been a milestone for us, and it's a foundation for much bigger and better things in the future. Thanks to the help of the people we've got, the American drivers, NASCAR, people like Chris from the United States, gave us a great bit of flavour.
Well, experience counts for everything, doesn't it? And Bonnet and Bobby Allison certainly proved that here today.
They sure did. They're wonderful people. They're great ambassadors for the United States and great ambassadors for NASCAR.